Mean Joe from Legend Hobby. So the next step in the build is to get the gas tank set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through how I set up my tank. I use a 2-line system. It's a lot simpler, it's a lot easier, everything on it works, and you shouldn't have any problems with this. And as long as you set it up properly, you shouldn't have any issues with your tank. So one of the things I like to do first off the bat is I like to upgrade to the Dubro tanks. You can get these in a multiple of different sizes. This here happens to be a 32 ounce. It's a little bit big for my current project, so I'm not going to use this. I'm going to use a smaller one, but I'm going to show you what all comes inside this package. First and foremost, you're going to get the tank. Obviously, you're going to get the fuel tank. I like these because of the way they're shaped. They set on the fuselage real easy on the inside, and they're real easy to secure. I like to put a little bit of foam rubber underneath of it just to give it a little bit of padding, and it also gives a little bit of stick. So that way, whether I use a zip tie or whether I use a some Velcro to put it down, it'll be good to go. The next thing you're going to get in your tank, 32 ounces and above, are 2 different stoppers. So now let me explain the stoppers. If you're setting up a gas system, the one you're going to want to use is the brown stopper. It's also going to have a 0 on the front. If you get the black stopper is for glow fuel only, and if you use it with gas, it's going to break down, it's going to cause you issues. So just take this one and get rid of it. You don't need it. So you're going to need the brown stopper, and also just to be sure, on the end of it, it has a 0 marked on the end. That's the gas stopper. The next thing you're going to get is you're going to get your brass tubing. Brass tubing looks like this. You're going to get 2 pieces of this with your tank. Okay, and we'll talk about a little addition to that here in a second. The next thing you're going to get is the blue gas line. Again, this is going to be if you're doing glow. Not doing glow, don't need it. Okay, so the next thing you're going to see inside the tank is the clunk. The clunk comes with these, and it's all easy to set up. You can see that it already has the barbs on the end. This is the clunk I will be using. Additional items that you're going to need to make this work a lot easier. I recommend the Dubro Easy Bender. You're going to want this to bend your vent line. Okay, I see a lot of guys doing it with their fingertips. I don't recommend that. These are cheap, easy to get, and you can get them right off of Dubro.com, and they work perfectly for this application. I use this thing all the time. The other thing that you're going to want to add to your stuff is some of these barbs. These barbs go on the end of your brass tubing. You're going to want to make sure you add a fuel filter. Okay, and I will show you what the barbs look like. The barbs look just like that. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put these on there, and you're going to want to put some solder around the end. When I set this up, I will actually show you how this works. It's super easy, and once you get those on there, then that fuel line's not going to come off. One thing to remember is on your vent line, you're only going to need a barb on one end. This would be the end that you curve up towards the top to act as your vent. Next thing I like to add is a T-fitting. Because we're doing a 2-line system, you're going to want to have some kind of a T-fitting between the tank and the engine. Okay, so this goes between the tank and the engine. The reason for this is because I like to use a fuel dot. There's a million of these out there. You can get these. I like these little magnetic ones so that when I take them apart and put them together, it sticks back on there and I'm not going to lose it. I like these a lot, and this is generally what I use on all my gas airplanes. Some of the smaller stuff, I use smaller ones than this, but this will be what I use as a fuel dot. Then you're going to want some Tygon tubing. I found Tygon to be the best. I usually like to use the 3/32 Tygon because it stays on there good. I get plenty of fuel flow, and I don't have any issues with it coming off. And then basically I don't have any issues with my fuel system. So those are the pieces. The other thing you're going to want is either some safety wire or some zip ties. I generally just use some small zip ties. I've got a ton of those around the shop here, and I just go ahead and zip tie all my pieces together so that they don't come off. So let me get this all put together, and then we'll take a look at what it's going to look like when we're done. So here's all the parts put together for the inside of the tank. I've got my clunk line and I've got my vent line here, and you'll see I've already went ahead and I've already zip tied those on there. You're going to want to make sure you do that so they won't come off of there. Then I can get everything squeezed in through here. You want to make sure your vent line is pointing up, okay? And then this is your clunk line. It's really hard to see, but the clunk is riding right to the back of the tank, right where you want it to ride. If it's a little short or a little long, you can adjust it a little bit here. I've left myself some room, so if I can get it in there and get it just like I like it, that should be good to go. You can see it all the way to the back of the tank. You want to make sure that's all the way to the back of the tank. If it's not, then you're going to have trouble with it losing fuel while you're flying. So that would be that part. All that's left to do here is to go ahead and tighten up the screw in the front, and then that part's next to go. And now I'll show you how to plumb the whole thing. I'll say, okay, so I've got everything plumbed up and ready to go. I have got my vent line is on the top here. This is my carburetor line, okay? So what this does is this is going to be the vent line. This will exit out the bottom of the airplane. So if you overfill, that would be where that would go. Your pickup line is this one. So this is your clunk line, which is the bottom line or pickup line. So what I've done there, and obviously I need to cut this to fit the airplane that I'm working on, but I wanted to make sure I had this all for demonstrations. So that bottom line is your pickup line. On the pickup line, I have the T. The T goes to my filler, which is here. This will get mounted to the side of the airframe. And then this line on the other side of the T goes to my filter, which then goes to my carburetor. So again, your pickup line is on the bottom, up to your T. This part goes out to your filler. Okay, this will get mounted on the side of the airframe. And then this is your carburetor line. So you would actually have to add some more tubing on the end here, obviously. But that's how you want to go. You want to make sure that you don't put the filter between the T and the tank. Okay, you want to filter your gas coming out of your filler, however you're doing it, whether you're doing it with a hand pump or whether you're doing it with an automatic pump. That's fine. Filter that gas itself, okay? But you don't want that going between the T and the tank. That's going to give you issues down the road, okay? And then this would be filtered into your carburetor. So regardless of whether you have a filter on your end for your fill, you've still got your filter here that should catch any debris, okay? So that's going to be how you wire up or plumb up a gas tank for gas applications. If you have any more questions for any of this, feel free to give us a shout and I'd be happy to help you out. This is how it's done, just like that. So again, tank, this is your vent line on the top, right? This is your carburetor line or your pickup line. Your T goes in between there to your filler cap. And then this filtered line goes to your tank. Now don't worry about if you're using a pressurized pump. You're not going to have enough pressure in your pump to blow out your seals in your carburetor by filling it through this, okay? It's not enough pressure. It's like 16 pounds or something like that it would take to blow those lines out, and your automated fuel pumps aren't going to have that much pressure. So as you fill, once your tank gets filled, because you have your vent line plumbed, then any overflow should exit through the bottom of the aircraft. That's how it works. If you have any questions on this, feel free to reach out. And as always, thank you very much for watching and have a great day.